Wow, isn't this intimate? I almost feel like I should whisper or something. I've been trying to set this up so that you could see the hook and the needle. And with my limited video resources and skills, this is about as good as it's gonna get. Let me try another. I don't know which is better. So this is part 17 of a series to restore a Singer Model 337. In this part I want to talk about the hook timing, and then the bobbin area in general. And this machine, like I think I mentioned a long time ago in the beginning of these, that this is the first time I've ever seen a horizontal front drop-in bobbin with an oscillating hook. Most of the ones I've done, except for the 301, have a front drop-in bobbin with a horizontal rotary hook. So you see the circuit here, that's the hook race, hook assembly, and that is the hook right there. So like on the 347s and 400s, 5, 6, 7, all the others I've done, the Class 66 bobbin drops in here, and this just goes around and around. And every second time around, it grabs the thread. So it grabs the thread the first, on the first go around, drops it off, and the completion of that first round, the needle is up. Then on the second time around, the needle comes back down, starts up, and it grabs it. So anyway, let me turn. So this is the hook. I'm just going to turn the hand wheel towards me, and you're going to see that hook, instead of going around in a circle, it goes to here, which is the cast off position, where the thread that it grabbed is going to cast off right here to go next to the bobbin case and come and wrap around. So in a horizontal rotary, it would just keep going around this way. But watch, this one goes back. It goes clockwise. Wow, never saw that one before. And then it's going to go up past the needle. So here's the needle. Here's the hook back here. Then it's completed its turn, its oscillation, and it's going to come back just as the needle goes up, and it's going to catch that thread again. So to me, this is kind of cool, because every time it goes back there, it catches the thread. It's like, wow, I wonder if this sews twice as fast as the other ones. I don't know. I haven't sewn on it yet. So, that's my fascination with the horizontal oscillating hook. One thing I do after cleaning up this stuff is I continue on. When I go to work in this area, what I want to do is check this hook to see if there's been any damage to it. Because if it ever had a needle strike or something like that, that thread's going to hang on it. So you can take a small screwdriver, you can take a razor knife, see if you feel anything, because you really can't get your finger in there. But what I do is just take a loop of thread and I stick it in the hook, because that's what it's going to do when it sews. And then I'm going to gently pull the thread out of the hook, and see if it hangs up anywhere. And no. And no. So, I have found that the thread will snag on little tiny burrs that the razor knife can't even find. And I just thought about something. What if I came in from this way, put the thread in there like it had. Can I make this go backwards? Yeah. So it's gonna grab that thread. I've got to hold two pieces of it, okay? But it's gonna come around, and right down there it's gonna cast it off. Boom. And it's gonna come back up here, go past the needle. On the way back, grab that needle thread and bring it around down to about 6 or 7 o'clock and cast it off. Whoop, cast it off again. So, in this one, I don't feel there's any kind of a burr. You know, it just slides off real slick, right off of that hook. So I'm happy for that. I've had machines with small burrs or scratches right in there on the hook. And what happens is it won't cast it off. It gets hung up, kinda. Then it starts to go and get another one and another, and then it jams up and you open it up and all these threads are bird nested in here. So that's why I test the hook. The ones that I did find small burrs, I got my trusty 6 to 1200 grit sandpaper. I cut a little strip of it like that, and I will go in with that and I will gently sand the hook and the point. So I'll get it in there like that. So I hope that's showing up in the camera. And I'll gently sand it. And while I'm doing that, I gently move it towards the point of the hook. Like that. I don't just put it in here and sand it forever in one position, because I don't want to make new scratches or something that's you know, at 90 degrees to the way the thread wants to come off. So I would get in here like that and I would sand it and sand it and sand it towards the point, and whoop, go back and do that 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 strokes. Then I would put my little thread loop back in there and say, hey, oh, that's too cool. Okay, now it doesn't hang up anymore. Look at that. I've only had one that had such a bad scratch in it that I actually had to take like a little grinder thing on my Dremel and slowly grind it out. And then what happened was the hook point was misshapen and it was casting off early way over in here instead of down here. So I ended up having to go onto eBay and find a used hook for 15 bucks. But I've had probably, in my experience, about a dozen with small little nicks or burrs there, and the sandpaper has worked. You know, some took 50 little strokes back and forth. A couple took 200 or 300. But if you just do it evenly, and like I said, slowly work it towards that point. So kind of bring it off the same way the thread's going to go. So my hook point is good. Now the timing on the needle bar, many of you know that there's two timing marks, two little lines across the needle bar up above, out of the, well, No, I don't want to move the camera yet. It's up above the camera view, but there's two marks. The top one is to help you set the height of the needle bar, and the lower line or timing mark is to set the timing, to help you. That's the needle position when you time the hook. So when you time it, literally what you do is you get your needle going up and down, and you go down, you bottom out, and you're turning the hand wheel, and you go past that lower timing mark, and then on the up stroke, that bottom timing mark should just be disappearing up into the needle bar holder, and that's your needle position. And then what you look for is down here, and we're good because the point of that needle is directly, no, the point of the hook is directly behind the needle. So yay hey, that's what we want. That's what we want. If the needle bar on the way up, on the upstroke, and you stop just where that lower timing mark is disappearing into the holder, and that point of the hook is not right behind, it's before or after, you're going to have problem stitches, if any stitches. So that's going to tell you no, it's no good. Your timing's off. And different machines, different models have different methods of setting the timing. That's all in the guide. Maybe now that I've kind of got this area covered with how that oscillating horizontal hook works. It's too cool. And I checked for burrs. The hook is clean, and I checked for my timing on the upstroke. Go all the way down and come up to the timing mark, and man, that needle is right there. Just too good. Okay, so I kind of have the camera laying here on the table, so I'm going to grab it now and do some handheld stuff, maybe. So what I was hoping to do was to see if I could show you that timing mark. You can see it on your own. On these vintage, you know, the needle bar is more exposed down there. Let me put it all the way down, and then you should be able to see if I can get some light on there. Too bright. The light's too bright. Oh, shoot. Well, you'll have to look at your machine, but when the needle bar is at the bottommost point, right here, like a 1/16 of an inch or so below the bracket, that timing mark is exposed. But you have to time the hook on the upswing when the needle's coming up, and that little mark is just disappearing into that holder. Just kind of disappearing into that holder right here. You may be able to see that. I'm just looking in the back of the camera. I can't see for heck. So the reason that you time it on the uptake of the needle bar is because when you puncture the material with the needle and thread, then there's still tension on the thread. Once it goes through and it starts back up, the fabric drags on the thread, and it makes a little tiny loop there, because the fabric is, you know, putting tension on the thread and dragging on it. And if that hook point is right there, it'll catch that little tiny loop and catch the thread, and it'll bring it around to the cast-off point. And then, see how I can figure this. I'll show you. I can get this turned over here. Get it up here. Oh boy. Oddly, some machines, when you do the timing, you loosen stuff way over here and rotate a shaft or a bar. On this one, the book says that you, where is that thing? Here it is, yeah, here. Okay, here. That you get the bar on the uptake position where the timing mark's disappearing, and you come over and you loosen these two set screws. Is that right? Let's see. You loosen these two set screws a little bit, and you start turning this counterclockwise until the hook gets behind the needle. And then you tighten these back up. So this is a pretty easy one, really, to set the timing on. And again, it explains all this. You know, get your needle bar down on the upswing, stop it at the timing mark. If your hook point's off, you loosen these two set screws and you start moving this clockwise, and you see that's going to rotate that hook and the point, and then when you get it just perfect, then you tighten these back up. So that's how you set the timing on the 337. And what I want to do now is I'm going to end the video, stop it. I'm going to stop it. Okay, I'm already back. I thought what I'd do is give another view and a little bit of more info about timing the hook, in case somebody came here looking for that. And so I have the camera on the tripod, maybe it'll be better. This is printout of page 15 of, you can read that, to time the oscillating hook. And the top half, you see the diagrams and the words. It tells you how to you know, set it up, where you've got that needle bar with the timing mark on the upstroke, the timing mark just disappearing into the needle bar holder up here. And then the bottom half is telling you, if you have to adjust it, how to loosen those two set screws and start moving the I forget what you call that, but this crank or whatever, that you start moving it in a counterclockwise until the hook gets right behind the needle. Then you stop there and tighten it up. And these are Allen wrenches. I believe they're 1/8. Yeah, it says they're 1/8. So, you know, again, why that $5 to $10 guide that I recommend is just worth every penny, you know. So let me put that aside, and so this is that counterbalance is what I call it, and there's the place for the two set screws you would loosen with the Allen wrench. So that's what you do. Get the needle on the uptake, timing mark just starting to disappear. If the needle's not right behind that hook, then you would go over there and loosen those set screws. It only takes a quarter or half a turn. Gently start moving this thing over which will start rotating the hook. See how that starts moving. And the ones that I've had off, they've only been off by, you know, like the worst one I ever had was about 3/8 of an inch. Most of them are just like 1/8 of an inch. And actually most of the ones that I've had to reset the timing were the ones that were belt driven. Like the 347, if you watch my video there, you've got some steel sprockets here and a belt system that runs the hook over there. And those are the ones that when you get a jam, you know, the belt will slip a little bit and the timing will get off. Since this is all metal, direct drive, steel and aluminum, if you get a jam, it's just going to break the needle and stop moving. But it's rare on this type of a drive, or when there's a set of steel gears at each end, it's more rare that the timing would get off to begin with. But it's usually the ones with the belt drive that I found is off. And guaranteed, if you ever have to change that belt, you're going to have to set the timing. So in the unlikely event you'd ever have to set the timing on this, it's real easy to do compared to a lot of the other ones. Of course, you've got to get the needle bar set up and loosen this and move it. And so if you can have somebody, you know, keep an eye on the other end and tell you, yeah, right there, that's perfect. Or set up a mirror, which I've had to do a couple of times when nobody was around to help me. And just, you know, once you get it set, I've even just taken a little Sharpie and made a line right there so that I know where to line that up. Because once you get it there, you've got to keep all of this in the exact same spot while you tighten it up. But if you go slow, it's real doable, you know.